The rumors about my reproductive system being shattered were spreading through the capital like a wildfire in a dry season. It was a joke, really. I was Andrew, a triple S class prime omega, born with a physiology that was the envy of the entire sector. But my new husband, Jesse, apparently believed the gossip. He treated me like I was made of glass, or perhaps like a broken appliance he didn't know how to return. I remembered complaining to my best friend, Liam, about it just days ago. I had said, loudly, that Jesse didn't have the guts to touch me. I didn't know Jesse was standing right behind me. That night, he proved me wrong. He proved me wrong until I was sobbing into the pillow, my body aching and overstimulated. I remembered him gripping my waist, his eyes glowing a feral red, growling, "Don't move, Andrew. It's done." But now, the headlines were different. Asterisk General Andrew, hero of the Swarm War, retiring due to critical injuries. Infertility confirmed. Asterisk I stared at the holoscreen and scoffed. I was injured, yes. My gland was damaged. But my ability to carry a child was perfectly fine. Still, the Empire didn't care about the truth. They needed to secure my bloodline, damaged or not. They arranged a match immediately. I hadn't wanted to marry this young, but when I saw the name on the file, I paused. Jesse, the current commander of the Capital Defense Force. The Empire's living weapon. We had a history. 5 years ago, I had been young, arrogant, and drunk on my own power. I had cornered him and explicitly invited him to my bed. He had rejected me cold. Now, the tables had turned. I was the war hero everyone adored. He was the executioner everyone hated. He cleaned up the genetic pollution left by the swarm, killing infected citizens. They called him a butcher. I sat in the waiting room of the Civil Affairs Bureau, looking at him. Commander Jesse, I said, extending my hand, a playful smirk on my lips. Long time no see. He looked at my hand, then up at my face. His expression was as barren as a tundra. He didn't take my hand. He just turned and walked toward the registrar. I withdrew my hand, clenching it slightly. I was beautiful, capable, and possessed spiritual energy that could crush a lesser alpha. Yet, he still acted like I was invisible. Was he still hung up on 5 years ago? I sat next to him as we signed the papers. He was impeccable in his dress uniform, every button shining, his posture rigid. He smelled of nothing but heavy-duty scent blockers and the cold steel of his sidearm. After the official photo, I felt his gaze on me. It was heavy, probing. I turned to him, flashing my best camera-ready smile. What is it, husband? Is there something on my face? Jesse's eyes were cold, dark pools. He stood up abruptly. Let's go. I followed him, checking my comms. I decided to annoy him. I sent him a message, even though he was 3 feet in front of me. Waiting for you to come home. He didn't check his device. That evening, in our new government-assigned marital home, I decided to play the part of the perfect spouse. I cooked. I set the table. I even plated the food with artistic flair. I snapped a photo and sent it to him. Asterisk dinner is ready. Waiting for you. Asterisk I turned back to the kitchen to grab a bowl. That was when the world tilted. A sharp, electric spike of pain stabbed through the back of my neck. My hands went numb. The bowl slipped from my fingers, shattering on the tile floor. Damn it. I tried to grab the counter, but my legs gave way. I hit the floor hard, my arm landing right in the shards of porcelain. A fresh wave of sharp pain radiated up my arm, but it was nothing compared to the agony in my neck. The injury from the last battle against the swarm hadn't touched my womb, but it had cracked my scent gland. Liam had warned me that my first heat post-injury would be brutal. I thought he was exaggerating. He wasn't. It felt like someone was pouring molten lead into my spine. My control over my pheromones shattered. The scent of magnolia, sweet, heavy, and distressed, flooded the kitchen. I lay there, gasping, sweat beading on my forehead. I couldn't move my fingers, but I managed to voice-activate my comms. Call Jesse. Video call. It connected. The screen projected into the air above me. I saw the ceiling of his office. Jesse, I rasped, my voice trembling. The camera shifted. Jesse's face appeared, harsh and unyielding, but his eyes widened slightly when he saw the angle. Andrew? I tried to lift my head, blood smearing on my cheek from where I'd touched my face. I needed to look pathetic. I needed him to see this. The line went dead. I didn't know how much time passed. The pain came in waves, blurring my vision. Then, the front door slammed open. Heavy boots thudded against the floorboards. I looked up through a haze of tears. Jesse was there. He looked terrifying, his chest heaving. He dropped to his knees beside me, his hands hovering over my body as if afraid to touch me. What happened? He demanded, his voice rough. I reached out, grabbing the lapel of his uniform, pulling myself toward him. It's the injury, I choked out. The aftershocks. It hurts so much. Jesse, please. He scooped me up effortlessly, carrying me toward the bedroom. His body was hard, warm. What do you need? He asked, kicking the bedroom door open. I buried my face in his neck, inhaling deeply, but all I got was the chemical tang of blockers. I need your scent, I whispered against his skin. Can you release some pheromones? Please. It was an intimate request. In our society, asking an alpha to scent you was like asking them to undress. I expected him to refuse. Instead, the air around us changed. The chemical smell evaporated, replaced by the scent of first snow. It was crisp, cold, and incredibly clean. It washed over me, cooling the fire in my blood. My damaged gland throbbed, but the agony dulled into a manageable ache. I let out a long, shaky breath, nuzzling closer to him. The compatibility between us was 100%. A fated match. His scent didn't just smell good, it felt like medicine. Jesse, I murmured, my voice dropping an octave, thick with heat. Mark me. Just a little. I'm suffering. I tilted my head, exposing the swollen, red gland at the nape of my neck. It looked like a ripe cherry, begging to be burst. Jesse's breathing hitched. I felt his heart hammering against my chest. Where are your inhibitors? He asked, his voice strained. They don't work, I lied, looking up at him with wet, pleading eyes. It hurts, Lord Commander. Please. He stared at me, a war warring behind his eyes. Then, his large hand cupped the back of my head, holding me in place. He leaned down. His hot breath ghosted over my skin, sending shivers down my spine. Then, teeth. He bit down. It wasn't gentle. It was possessive. He broke the skin, and a rush of S-class alpha pheromones injected directly into my bloodstream. My brain went white. My body shuddered, every nerve ending singing. It wasn't a full bond, just a temporary mark, but the relief was instantaneous. I went limp in his arms. He pulled back, his lips stained with a drop of my blood. He looked shaken. I lay on the bed, feeling the pain recede, replaced by a fuzzy, warm comfort. Jesse moved to stand up, to retreat, but I shot my hand out and caught his wrist. Lord Commander, I purred, looking up at him through my lashes. My body still hurts. And my gland. Is it swollen? Did you bite too hard? Jesse froze. I saw the tips of his ears turn a violent shade of red. He cleared his throat, looking anywhere but at me. It looks fine, he muttered. Husband, I whispered. Put a scent patch on it for me. He stiffened. He looked at me like I had spoken a foreign language. Please. I added, making my lower lip tremble. He moved mechanically, grabbing a blocker patch from the first aid kit on the nightstand. His fingers were cold against my feverish skin as he sealed the patch over the bite mark. He did it quickly, as if touching me burned him. Thank you, husband, I said softly. He flinched. Don't call me that, he said, his voice tight. Why not? We're married. He didn't answer. He turned and practically fled the room. A moment later, my comms buzzed. It was Liam. He had sent my medical file and a compatibility analysis. Asterisk information, pheromone disorder. Triggered by heat. Relief only possible through marking by an alpha with 90% compatibility or higher. Asterisk, I looked at the door Jesse had just exited. 100% compatibility. He was my medicine. I got out of bed, my legs still wobbly. I walked to the living room. Jesse was sitting on the sofa. He had changed out of his uniform into gray loungewear, but he still looked like a coiled spring. He looked up the second I entered, his eyes sharp. Can you sleep with me? I asked, leaning against the doorframe. Jesse looked away. Andrew, please have some self-respect. The exact same words he used 5 years ago. I let my face fall. I summoned tears instantly. We are married, Jesse, I said, my voice cracking. You are my alpha. I'm sick, and I'm in pain. Is it really too much to ask for you to just lie next to me? Jesse's mask cracked. He looked panicked. I closed my eyes, letting a single tear roll down my cheek. You hate me, don't you? Fine. Leave. If I die from the pain tonight, At least you'll be free. I turned to walk back to the bedroom, deliberately letting my foot catch on the rug. I stumbled, hitting my shoulder against the wall with a loud thud. Andrew. He was there in a second, scooping me up into a bridal carry. The scent of snow intensified, wrapping around me like a blanket. I hid my smirk in his chest. He carried me to bed and, without a word, lay down on top of the covers next to me. Go to sleep, he commanded softly. I turned and wrapped my arms and legs around him like a koala. He went rigid. Husband, I mumbled, drifting off. You smell so good. A week later, I was back at the academy, guest lecturing. The students were young, eager, and full of opinions. The topic of the day was the swarm war. General Andrew, a student in the front row, asked, "Are you here just to teach, or are you going to take over Commander Jesse's position?" I leaned back against the desk. My rank is higher than his, kid. Why would I demote myself? The class laughed, but the atmosphere shifted. Another student spoke up. The Empire should fire him. He's a murderer. Who knows if the people he executes are actually infected? He just kills anyone he wants. Real soldiers fight bugs on the front lines, like you, General. They don't hide in the city shooting civilians. The class murmured in agreement. They looked at me, expecting validation. I was the light to Jesse's darkness. I slammed my hand down on the desk. The sound echoed like a gunshot. Silence fell instantly. Listen to me, and listen well, I said, my voice low and dangerous. Every single person Commander Jesse has executed was a carrier of the swarm gene. He does the dirty work so you can sleep at night. He fights the same war I do. He just doesn't get the parades. Bullshit. A large alpha student in the back shouted. Jesse is a corrupt dog. He kills because he likes it. I stared at the student. Get out of my classroom. The student stood up, kicking his chair over. He sneered. Whatever. You're just an Omega. What do you know? Probably slept your way to your rank anyway. He turned to the door, yanked it open, and froze. Jesse was standing there. He was in full combat gear, fresh blood splattered across his cheek and chest armor. His eyes were void of humanity. He looked like a reaper. The student turned pale, his knees buckling. He fell backward onto the floor. Jesse didn't even look at him. His eyes met mine across the room. For a second, something raw flashed in them. Then, he signaled his deputies. They grabbed the student by the collar and dragged him out. Jesse turned and walked away without a word. That night, Liam dragged me out for drinks. You look miserable, Liam said, stirring his cocktail. Jesse is impossible to seduce, I complained. I think he's broken. Liam laughed. He's not broken, he's a monk. Come on. I'm taking you somewhere to blow off steam. He took me to the underground. The air was thick with smoke, cheap beer, and the metallic tang of blood. It was a fight club. You have to see this, Liam shouted over the roaring crowd. They call him Black Dog. Undefeated for 5 years. He usually fights once a week, but lately, he's been fighting every single night. I looked at the screen. A fighter wearing a black canine mask was stepping into the cage. He was lean, muscular, and moved with a terrifying efficiency. My breath caught. I knew those shoulders. I knew that walk. Liam, I said, grabbing his arm. That's Jesse. What? Liam squinted. No way. The commander of the defense force fighting for cash in a basement? I watched the fight. His opponent was a captured swarm soldier, a humanoid beetle with blade arms. The crowd screamed for blood. The beetle swung a massive, chitinous blade. Black Dog rolled, but not fast enough. The blade sliced his arm. Blood sprayed. My heart hammered against my ribs. Why was he doing this? The purse was 2 million credits. Why did he need money that badly? The fight was brutal. Jesse took hits that would kill a normal man. Finally, he leaped off the cage wall, landed on the beetle's back, and ripped its wings off with his bare hands. The creature screeched and collapsed. Jesse stood over it, chest heaving, blood dripping from his fingers. He didn't celebrate. He just walked to the exit. I moved. I marched straight to the manager's office, kicking the door open just as I heard shouting. You promised to throw the fight. The manager, a greasy beta, was screaming. I lost 10 million credits because of you. Jesse was standing there, still in his mask, his arm bleeding sluggishly. I won, he said, his voice distorted by a modulator. Pay me. Pay you? The manager laughed, pulling a pistol from his desk. You're not leaving here alive. I stepped into the room. If you pull that trigger, I said calmly, The entire Imperial Army will descend on this rat hole within 10 minutes. The manager spun around. Who the hell are you? I stepped into the light. General Andrew. Triple S Omega. And the husband of the man you're threatening. The manager's face went white. He dropped the gun. General. I didn't know. Liam ran in behind me, dropping a bag of chips on the desk. Here. This covers your loss. We're leaving. I grabbed Jesse's uninjured hand. Let's go. He tried to pull away. I can handle this, the modulator buzzed. Shut up, I snapped. You're bleeding. Move. We didn't speak until we were back in our apartment. I pushed him onto the sofa and grabbed the first aid kit. Take off the mask, I said. He hesitated, then slowly peeled it off. His face was pale, sweat-drenched. His eyes were guarded. Why did you bring me here? He asked, looking around. This is your home. It's our home, Jesse. I started cleaning the deep gash on his arm. He didn't flinch. You shouldn't be seen with me, he said quietly. Especially not like this. I ignored him. I leaned down and pressed a soft kiss to the skin right next to the wound. Jesse flinched violently. What are you doing? Disinfecting, I joked weakly. Stop it, he hissed. You're married. Why are you kissing another man? I looked at him, confused. Then I realized. He thought I didn't know it was him. He was still playing the role of black dog. I laughed. Oh, you're right. My husband is very jealous. But I think he'd forgive me for kissing you. Jesse stood up, angry. Stop playing games. I'm leaving. He turned to go, but suddenly, the air in the room shifted. My heat. It wasn't a slow build this time. It crashed into me like a freight train. The stress of the night, the smell of Jesse's blood, the proximity, it triggered a cascade failure in my damaged gland. Ah! I cried out, doubling over. My knees hit the floor. Andrew. Jesse was there instantly, catching me before I hit my head. It hurts. I screamed, clawing at my neck. It feels like it's ripping apart. The scent of magnolia exploded in the room, sour with distress. Jesse, help me. I grabbed his shirt, pulling him down. Mark me. You have to mark me properly. He looked terrified. Andrew, your gland. It's bleeding. If I mark you now, it could damage you permanently. I don't care. I sobbed. The pain was blinding. I felt like I was dying. Just do it. He gritted his teeth, ripped off his mask completely, and buried his face in my neck. He didn't hold back. He bit down hard, flooding my system with winter pheromones. It was like ice water on a burn. We stayed like that for hours on the floor, him holding me as I shook, his scent keeping the agony at bay. When the haze finally lifted, I was lying in his lap, soaked in sweat. He was stroking my hair, his expression unreadable. Why do you need the money, Jesse? I whispered. He froze. His hand stopped moving. I'm rich, Jesse. My family is old money. Whatever you need. Just ask. He stayed silent for a long time. Then, he whispered, you wouldn't understand. 2 days later, I found out why. A little girl was lurking outside our apartment. She looked like a ghost, pale skin, dark circles, fragile bones. I opened the door. Can I help you? She looked up at me with huge, round eyes. Are you the savior? I blinked. That was the nickname the media gave me during the war. Yes. I suppose I am. She burst into tears. Savior, please save my brother. I brought her inside. Her name was Rosie. She rolled up her sleeve to show me arms riddled with needle marks. I have a sickness, she explained, her voice thin. The medicine costs 1 million credits a week. My brother. He gets hurt to pay for it. He thinks I don't know, but I know. He's the black dog. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Jesse wasn't fighting for greed. He was fighting to keep his sister alive. Savior, please, she begged. I don't want him to die. I hugged her. I promise you, Rosie. I will fix this. I called Prince Roman immediately. Roman and I went to the academy together. He was currently fighting his brother for the throne. He had access to experimental drugs. Specifically, AS004, the cure for Rosie's condition. Roman, I said when he answered. I need a favor. Anything for you, Andrew. You know that. I need AS004. Today. Done. Meet me at the Skyline restaurant. I took Rosie with me. We met Roman. He handed over the vial without question. Whatever you need, Andrew, Roman said, smiling charmingly. You know, if you weren't married to that butcher, you could have been my queen. I ignored the flirtation. I handed the vial to Liam, who was waiting to administer it to Rosie. As we were leaving the restaurant, I looked out the floor-to-ceiling window. Down on the street, there was a commotion. A swarm outbreak. I saw Jesse. He was down there, shooting a mutated civilian. He looked up. Through the glass, our eyes locked. He saw me standing next to Prince Roman. He saw Roman's hand on my shoulder. His expression crumbled. It was pure devastation. I ran downstairs. By the time I got to the street, the fight was over. Jesse was holstering his gun. "Jesse," I called out. He flinched. He looked at Roman, then at me. His eyes were full of a dark, swirling jealousy I had never seen before. "Are you done with your date?" he asked, his voice shaking. "It wasn't a date," I said, grabbing his arm. "Jesse, listen to me. Rosie is safe. We got the medicine." He stopped breathing. "What?" "Rosie. She has the AS004. She's going to be fine." He stared at me, his mouth opening and closing. Tears welled up in his eyes, spilling over onto his bloody cheeks. You did that?" "Yes," I said softly. He collapsed. He literally fell to his knees on the pavement, sobbing. The relief broke him. I held him there in the street, while his soldiers watched, letting the feared commander weep into my coat. That night, the political situation exploded. The emperor called an emergency summit at the palace. Prince Roman, his brother Prince Rongshi, and all the high officials were there. Jesse was providing security. Midway through the speech, a noble standing next to Prince Rongshi began to scream. His body convulsed, bones cracking, skin tearing. A massive insectoid leg burst from his chest. He was a level 4 carrier. Fully turned. Chaos erupted. "Protect the emperor," I shouted, drawing my concealed blaster. Jesse was already moving. He vaulted over the table, putting a bullet between the creature's eyes before it could reach the throne. But it wasn't just one. 3 more nobles transformed. "It's an ambush," Jesse roared. We fought back to back. The ballroom turned into a slaughterhouse. But something was wrong. Prince Rongshi wasn't running. He was cowering, clutching a briefcase. Jesse saw it too. He fought his way to Rongshi. "Drop the case," Jesse ordered. Rongshi screamed, "You filthy dog. Do you know who I am?" "I know what you are," Jesse growled. He ripped the case open. Vials of green liquid. Concentrated swarm DNA. "You did this," Jesse said, his voice echoing in the silent hall. "You infected them. You created the pollution to destabilize the capital." Rongshi laughed maniacally. "I did it for power. And I'll do it again." Suddenly, Rongshi gasped. He looked down at his own hands. They were turning black, chitinous scales spreading rapidly. He infected himself, I realized with horror. Jesse raised his gun. "No, don't kill me. I'm a prince." Jesse didn't hesitate. "You are a bug." Bang! The shot rang out. The threat was over. The aftermath was a blur of investigations and coronations. Prince Roman took the throne. Jesse was exonerated. The public finally learned the truth, that he had been protecting them from a conspiracy, not murdering innocents. But none of that mattered to me. I was at home, in bed. My heat had returned, but this time, there was no pain. Jesse hovered over me, his eyes soft, full of adoration. "Andrew," he whispered, brushing hair off my forehead. "Husband," I smiled, pulling him down. "Are you going to sleep in the guest room again?" "No," he said firmly. "Never again." He kissed me. It was slow, deep, and full of promises. "Andrew," he said against my lips. I was so jealous of Roman. "I thought you were going to leave me for him." I laughed breathlessly. "You idiot. I chased you for 5 years. You think I'm giving up now?" He rested his forehead against mine. "Can I?" he asked, his voice vulnerable. "Can I mark you? For real this time? A permanent bond?" I bared my neck, exposing the gland that was finally healed. "Make me yours, Jesse." He didn't need to be told twice. He sank his teeth into me, and this time, he didn't stop at the surface. He bit deep, binding his soul to mine. The connection snapped into place, gold and bright and eternal. I gasped, arching into him. "I love you, Andrew," he groaned. "I love you too, black dog. Now shut up and come to bed." The rumors were wrong about a lot of things. But they were right about one thing. The general and the commander were a dangerous match. And we were just getting started.